Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Anshul Devakar, and today we are again here back with you for something very interesting that a lot of you students have asked me. We discussed about career opportunities in UK and Australia in our last video, and something came from that talk that a lot of our consultants there who are working, they said something about building an impressive CV that will help students get a better opportunity in the future when they want to do a job. So a lot of students approached me and asked how to build an impressive CV. And frankly speaking, this is totally out of my turf. I have no idea how to build an impressive CV, but I do know two very accomplished anesthetists, very intelligent. Both of them are at the apex, at the top of the journey of their job after doing their post graduation and their super specialization, and both of them have extremely impressive CVs. I could have put it up as a PowerPoint presentation, but I thought I'll let them speak first. So they are going to guide you and they are going to tell you, one, what is the importance of building an impressive CV, and two, how does it help get ahead in terms of your job opportunities later on. So I welcome Dr. Gauri Gangakhetkar, who is an associate professor with Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai, and Dr. Joanna Rodrigues, who is a consultant in Hinduja Hospital, Khar in Mumbai. I
Hi,
welcome
good
you.
evening, and thank you for having
Hi,
us
good
both
evening.
here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I'm going to start by asking you guys a little bit about since you finished your post graduation, how did you approach this entire business of CV building? Was it a conscious attempt or it happened by chance? And what happened exactly? And what do we mean when we say we have to build an impressive CV?
So I think I'll speak first, Dr. Gauri, if that's okay with
Yeah,
you.
of course, of course.
Yeah. So I never started off with the intent of building a good CV, and thank you, Anshul, for considering me to have a good CV. It never started off with that. After finishing my post graduation, I just wanted to work in a very renowned institute in Bombay, and I wanted something which was very close to where I lived. So I chose PD Hinduja Hospital, Mahin. When I landed there, the workload was just phenomenal. The consultants were next level, kind of people who were doing stuff which I'd never seen or heard of. And I decided to stick around to that place for a while. During the course of my work tenure over there, I happened to do the neuro anesthesia fellowship, and that's when my journey began of starting my CV. Uh, I never set out to publish articles or to do anything, but I had a keen intent for academics. I was very interested in presenting papers, in writing papers, publishing articles, and I started hunting for interesting cases. I started trying to be for high risk cases, things which I could, sort of write. So I think that's how my journey of making an impressive CV started, but it was never intentional.
Hi. So I think Joanna and I shared that bit of her journey for a bit. So when she just finished her MD, I was starting out my DNB at Hinduja.
Yes,
And
you can
I
all
was,
include me as well in that little bit journey. I was also
yeah,
there.
him also. So
Yeah.
we were all a part of this journey sort of together where Anshul and me had finished our primary DAs and joined Hinduja to do our secondary DNBs. Joanna had joined us just after her MD. As much as she'd like for all of you to believe that she came in all wide-eyed and wondering how these people are doing everything, let me tell you, as a matter of fact, we were all super impressed with Joanna because she conducted herself with such poise and knowledge with regards to what she had done. It was very easy to see that she really knew her stuff. So why I'm bringing that up is because how Joanna said that she didn't start consciously building her CV. I think that's how all of us start. Very few of us are so motivated that, in your MD, you know exactly what you want to do, how you want to build your CV and go ahead. But with Joanna, the work, had already gone in for her. So she was already she'd already taken her first steps right there. Like she said, all of us would do that. You know that your consultants expect you to read for the high risk cases. With Jo, it was she read because she wanted to, and it sort of showed when she approached the case or approached us with regards to her management of the case. And I think that's vital. Like whether you're going to do a government job later or a corporate job later, showing the intent and enthusiasm in a place where you work really goes a long way in sort of establishing your CV. With regards to how my journey went, I think the two of them are really witness to it. I was lucky. Um, I was
I don't
in,
think, I think you worked really hard. I don't think it was luck alone. I mean,
Okay, let me just interject and say this thing that the mutual admiration club has to come from me and not you two. Okay, I have already said enough good things about you two. So let's just establish this fact that you both have done extremely good, and we can go past that.
So the thing is that for me also this happened by chance. I had a guide who was very academically motivated and motivated for himself and motivated for me as well. So it wasn't a question of do you want to do this? It was you have to do this. And I think I was the sort of individual who needed that push. Like once he made me write it, and for all of those listening, this is Dr. Joseph Montero at Hinduja Hospital. Joanna smiling like this because she's done her PDCC with him as her guide. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. But what that does to you is particularly for people like me who are a little hesitant to get off their asses and work towards writing a paper, is it gives you a chance to explore that aspect of your personality. Once I started doing it, I realized that I quite like it. He was the first one who said, when you present your compulsory PG seminars, you seem to enjoy studying for those. Why don't you consider looking for a teaching opportunity even in the future? And that's what got me thinking that, I did like presenting seminars. Yeah, so maybe teaching is a good idea because we were already by that time, when you're doing your DNB, there are a small bunch of people from each hospital, maybe one or two students. So when we give exams, particularly in Mumbai, you have a larger group of people who sort of sit together and study. So we were already doing a peer-led teaching of sorts where we were teaching each other, learning different topics, and then going to different hospitals and talking to each other. That helped me realize that, what Sir was saying was possibly right. And then that led to my SR-ship at TMH, and that's where my world really changed. And I realized I truly enjoyed this. And there was so much to read and there was so much to learn that once I started reading and learning, I realized that I needed to do more. I needed to do more to sort of belong in this world, which I was enjoying being a part of. And that led to publications. Like she said, there is a complicated case. So it led to, can this be published? Which was a very obtuse journey. If you ask me now, if any of my students ask me now, I would say, just ask your consultant, can this be published? Don't do what I did. Like it was me being silly again and me being inhibited and not asking and going around doing a random literature review and saying, oh, this was not published. Maybe I should have published it. By then somebody goes and says, can I write this up? Don't lose those opportunities. Take them. And, you build that sort of a resume, which puts you in the spotlight for these jobs.
Yeah, wonderful. So that is to summarize it. One, that with both of you, one thing is very common, that it was pretty natural rather than very conscious effort of doing something to make an impressive CV. But more importantly, if you're true to your work, if you like your work, you enjoy your work, you like reading. If you read, then only you come across articles, and only when you read articles, you realize it can be done. It can be published. So that is when you start. And yes, of course, I'll agree with Gauri that your guide plays a tremendously important role because he's the one who pushes you. These two ladies here, they were very lucky to have a guide who pushed them to the limits to get the job done. Initially, it might appear very, it will appear very aggressive and you'll feel frustrated because you want to go out and enjoy and you want to party because you have got some money from residency. But ultimately, in long run, you start liking it and you become better and better as you progress. I was somebody who in both my diploma and DNB never got anybody who pushed me for anything. So it was like I was merrily in my own world. So I had not published a single thing, never made an effort to publish a single thing because it was just, it's okay. Nobody cares. Like nobody has asked
I,
me.
th-
So why should I?
I think it's that first paper, that
Yeah.
first publication, which is the hardest, and there
Yeah,
is so much of
absolutely.
resistance to do it. And I remember my first paper, I almost started and left it for 3 months, and then restarted it again, and then considered it again. But I did it, and I think once I did it, then I knew that this is not so difficult, and I could do it again. So it's that first paper which is like the toughest and the hardest to cross.
Yeah. So
So
tell me,
I
Dr.
had
Joanna,
a
what? Yeah. Gauri, you were saying something.
So I agree with Joanna completely. That first paper inhibition is so bad because you think this is out of my league. This is not something that I have been trained for. Unfortunately, our residencies don't train us for writing papers. They train you for filling the paperwork of a thesis. Yes. Filling the paperwork, mind you, not even writing a thesis,
Yeah.
but they don't train you for publishing. So for anybody who's looking to publish, I would think that my tip would be that I started writing my thesis, like Joanna said, gave it up 3 times, like literally bundled it up and put it away. Then one fine day, I don't know what happened, and I was reading some article because I had to study for the case the next day. I was in TMH, and I found an article which was jarring. Like I didn't like what it said, and just on a whim, I wrote down a reply as a letter to editor, fully expecting that this is going to be rejected. Now, this was just 500 words. For somebody who has just given their anesthesia exam, no, it was really nothing. I didn't even edit it. I sent it forth. And to my surprise, it came back with corrections. When I was expecting a rejection, it came with corrections. Once I managed to get those corrections across, and there was a small letter to editor, which was etched in permanency in my name in a publication. And I was like, oh, this is not so bad.
Not so
Maybe
difficult.
let's open the thesis back again and let's see where this leads to. Can I publish it?
Yeah.
Just that first hang up you need to cross.
So
And letters are a
basically,
brilliant way to do it.
you need to start. And
Yeah.
just like it's everything new, you need to just give it a go. You'll fail the first few times. You will get rejected. You will feel dejected. You will feel, "Ki, "Arey yaar, this is a waste of time." But ultimately, the first time it gets published, then you realize that the people who have published hundreds of them also started with the first, and now I can do it the 100 times.
And I think
Now,
the easiest publication to begin with is your thesis, your dissertation that you do during your post-graduation. Because during the course, most of, the abstracts and the introduction is already done. So you don't have to really work extra hard while you're submitting it to a journal. And and around at that time, you'd have your guide still within easy reach for help or for correction, rather than if you publish that article, say your thesis 2-3 years later, it might be a little difficult. So it would be easier if you just start that initiation of publishing your thesis, when you're just done with your MD degree, or, if around
so
that time.
now that we are at the topic of this building of CV, let's put this checklist into place. What do you consider are the things that make up a good CV? One is obviously publication of your thesis. Anything else that you guys feel are the things that makes the CV look impressive? That is what we are actually here for.
See, to be very honest, you need to ask yourself, why do you need a good CV? And most of the time the answer is to land a good job at a very reputed, or a good hospital. Unfortunately, I was so naive when I started. I had no plans. That I never set out with that intention of, oh, I need to do this so that I get a good job somewhere. It just happened by chance. But I think in order to have a good CV nowadays, besides your MD degree, I think you need to have a fellowship, an additional fellowship, or an IDCC program, which just gives you a little bit of an edge over the rest of them, gives you that little extra confidence in that subject. Besides that, I think you need to have at least a few poster presentations. At least you should have presented something at some national conferences, which you can mention in your CV. Of course, publishing articles, your thesis will definitely help. And yeah, I think these are the basic requirements as of now in today's world.
So when in addition to all of this, obviously you do need to do all of this when you're looking for any job at all. Now, whether you're looking for a government job or a corporate job, you're going to require a good CV. Now, this is my appeal to all of you who are listening, who are possibly thinking like Anshul, their journey is going to be a little different from the journey that Joanna and I have had, where we knew to begin with that no matter what we do, it's an institution practice. Even if you're thinking that, eventually I want to be a private practitioner, I would think that you should get a taste of what it's like in corporate, what it's like in a government setup if you've started in DNB, which makes it essential for you to do at least a short-term stint in all of these places. If you're going to do a short-term stint in any of these places, you're going to have interviews where they will judge your CV. So irrespective of what you want to do, like even if you wanted to say that ये यहाँ पे मुझे ना इंडिया में रहना ही नहीं है, ये तो देश ही पूरा मतलब हो गया, सब खत्म हो गया यहाँ पे, मुझे यूएस जाना है, यूके जाना है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाना है, जहां भी जाना है, wherever you're going, everyone's going to look at your CV. And even for private practice, if you have a look at both worlds, I'm sure Anshul can tell you that from GMC Nagpur and then Hinduja gave him a perspective about how he wanted to approach his cases when he was the boss. So now if you are going to do this at least as a short-term period, I would think that you swap institutes. Like when you're doing this, like if you started from a DNB institute, go to a government hospital to see how it works. If you started out in a government hospital, go to a DNB institute. And that's where your CV counts, because for all interviews, 60 to 80% of your grade is just the CV. Now, because of the Right to Information Act and everything, people are very serious about these interviews, about this gradation from the CVs. Now, I'll tell you about this colleague of mine. She applied for a job. When she was applying for a job that required at least 3 years of teaching experience. She had 1.5. Her CV was so brilliant, they couldn't really do anything about it. Like even with that curtailed experience, they had to hire her at a post which was something that she really loved and she really wanted. And that's where your CV needs to stand out. So in addition to your academic accomplishments, if you ask me what we're looking for in a CV, particularly in a government hospital or a teaching institute where I am, is your diversity. Like every single person who applies to most of these teaching posts has their MD, DNB degrees, basic, and then they have their SRships. Then like Joanna says, if you want a good post, you need a fellowship, or these days you even have people coming with a DM. But apart from that, what do you have? Is you have to establish your interest. So your publication should come in line with your interest. So it should show that I worked to achieve this here, that sort of a thing. In addition to that, maybe you could, wherever you are, you could participate in things like those COLS programs, CPR activities, conduct teaching activities for your technicians or your juniors, and try and get certificates for them. You could sort of go to conferences simply as a delegate for two purposes. One is to interact with faculty and sort of see how the world lives, get to know how other anesthetists behave, look for institutes that you might want to work in. Second is you get the opportunity to do things that are not possible after, say, 5 years of finishing your MD, which is appear for the quizzes, write those essay competitions, actually put in case reports and stand in the conference and do that. Because those prizes, those participations also count as co-curricular activities when a CV is being evaluated at the end of the day. And that way it sort of works.
So it's a comprehensive thing. If I'll summarize what both of them just said, you have to be vigilant.
May I just interrupt? Like also Dr. Gauri said, see, I was lucky enough to do my MD in a place, a setup which had like a government, a semi-private, and a corporate setup. And at the end of it, I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew I didn't want to work in a government setup, and I knew I wanted to work in a corporate setup. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing bad about it. It's just an individual preference. And I think after your MD, if you establish that, if you work in a government and if you want, like she said, you need to get a taste of the corporate, or if you've been in a corporate, maybe you need to get a taste of the government and then decide what is it that you really want or where is it that you want to be. Then probably you can also kind of navigate your CV yourself and, build your CV accordingly.
So basically that means that one, there is no single recipe for success. Two, that you would need to spend some time in every place, every type of place, doing all sorts of things to understand what drives you. And third and most important thing is that most of the students, they reject the importance of participation, thinking that what is the point of participating? I am never going to win. But ultimately, what is important is to participate and get an experience and, of course, to get a certificate rather than keep on thinking that I'll do something big. So rather than trying to do one big thing, it is very important to do 10 small things. And each of the thing will have some addition to the CV, and ultimately somewhere down the line, it is going to help you gain both clinical experience, orientation, as well as helping in the future course of action that you want to take. With this, I would want to ask Dr. Joanna, what is in your experience, did your CV or the way you approached your pre-consultancy life few years before you actually became a consultant, do you feel all those things made a difference in you becoming a consultant? And does it really help in corporate jobs?
Oh, yes, of course. I think, one mistake which most of the doctors do nowadays is that they jump from one place to another. And I think you need to stick around at a place for some time so that people around you know you, they know your work, they know your level of efficiency, and you kind of develop a bond with them, So I kind of stuck around in Hinduja for a good 3.5 years, and then I was in Global for another 3 years, and it helped me. I got many opportunities through so many consultants. I conducted so many activities in Global Hospital, curricular, non-curricular, and that helped build that bond with everyone. That they kind of they knew to entrust me with things, with organizing things, and in turn, they kind of entrusted me with managing their cases as well. So even though I used to conduct, small painting activities or, so many competitions, it kind of built that trust value. They kind of trusted me with their high risk cases. They gave me a lot of independent work. It built a lot of confidence in me. And ultimately, yeah, it kind of led me to my consultancy.
Right. So liaisoning is also very important. When you are in a place, then you need to really be in that place. I think that shows the basic difference between somebody who is interested in doing what they want to do versus somebody who is just doing it for the sake of it. All these things are not going to come to people who feel the opportunity is going to come and land into them. And also
So
a very
if I may
important.
interject
Yeah,
for a
please.
minute. Like Joanna said, sticking around is important also because you're not going to get the mentor you're looking for. All of the opportunities in anesthesia, when you're looking for job-related opportunities or academic opportunities, come through your mentors. Is because they recognize your skills and sort of give you the role that you look for or they think fits you. But that will happen only if you give your mentors a chance for that mentor-mentee relationship to develop. If you're going to jump jobs, like she said, 6, 7 months, everyone's jumping ships, that relationship cannot develop. And you cannot have somebody who sort of looks out for you and says, I think, this would be good for you. Why don't you go present here?
But
Why don't
Gauri,
you write this paper for me?
tell me, this is something which is very very popular in the corporate culture, because in private a word of mouth does take you a long way. But do you think it helped you in government job as well?
Absolutely. Because I had really good mentors. So they helped me write the papers that were necessary. They were the ones who told me that, if this is the sort of job you're looking for, these are the sort of papers you need to write. This is how your CV needs to develop. in order that you get the job that you want. So while it may not be, it may not have been the thing that led to me getting the job I want, it ensured that my CV was strong enough that I could compete with all of those who stood for that interview with me for that one post, and I could get selected. Also, what is important to remember is for central government institutes, you do have letters of reference like coming in from people. And these are really big letters of references, 5-6 page worth documents, which are signed in by your referees. Again, if you have a mentor who's personally invested in your growth, they're obviously wanting you to land the job, and they're able to give you more honest feedback about it. Because as much as the government paperwork is about sort of checking kaun sa number kitna mein, isne kitne number diye, usne kitne number diye. When a hospital looks for an employee that's sticking with them long term, they're also looking for, are you a good fit for us? Are we a good fit for you? And when those questions need to be answered, they can only be answered when there is an honest feedback from your mentor saying, yes, this is the individual who I think is right for this job, or this is not the sort of job you should apply for. Is also something only your mentor can tell you.
So again, a very important point that came out of this conversation is it is not only your academic skills or what you do academically that is put on paper that is important to decide your future, but it is also your non-academic skills, how you liaison with people, who becomes your mentor or who you become a sort of student to, and how much are you invested in them, how much they are invested, and basically your people skills and how true you are to your work. So this is something that I would really like to point out, especially for all those students who feel that it's all about academics. So when they are doing their residency, they are just inside their books. They feel I'll crack a DM. Then in DM also, they are not talking to anyone. And then at the end of all of this, when they're not getting enough opportunities, they say it has become unfair with me. What they're not realizing is that ultimately it's a man-to-man business. Where any HOD, if he wants to have any person as a consultant, will obviously call the person's HOD to ask, "Kaisa hai ye bacha?" And if they get a good response from them, obviously it will make a difference. So a part of building your CV for the purpose of getting future job opportunities is to have people in your kitty. And by this, we don't mean to butter people up or something like that, but usually your work and your commitment shows for it. So that is something which is also very, very important. Anything else that
I
you guys
completely agree with that.
would want to add
Yes.
to this
Yes,
conversation?
absolutely what you said, Anshul. It's like I know people who actually do not have an impressive CV, and who have no fellowships, but have still landed consultant posts only
Not
because
consultant,
of only because of some recommendation by senior consultants where they previously worked. So what happens is when you stick around at some place, when you work hard, when you show your dedication, they remember you. And when this opportunity comes around, they kind of remember, yes, maybe this person, why don't we consider this person? So many students might feel that, oh, it's a long journey and, what's the point? I'm just trying to say that sometimes even luck plays a big
Yeah,
role.
that is I think true for everything and every specialty
Yeah.
and every job. But usually I say that the difference between somebody who does hard work versus somebody who gets lucky is that when you do hard work, then you are increasing your chances of getting that thing. Luck is 1 in say 10 lakh people, while hard work is 1 in 100. So basically hard work is making sure that you get what you want, while luck is just simply sitting and
Yeah, and of course,
seeing that.
when you've worked for your CV and
Yeah.
you know you've earned the post, and there's no
Yes.
one who can question you or
So it's
make you
also about
feel small
integrity.
about it. Yeah, it's just going to add a lot to your knowledge. It's just going to add a lot to your entire personality as an anesthetist. Your and how you conduct yourself. The knowledge, I think, knowledge is power. So all of this is just going to make you very, very robust and powerful at your job.
Yeah. Gauri, you were saying
So, when we're saying all of this, I realized that for all of us, luck came in more forms than this. Where all three of us are naturally chatty people. Like, because we like to talk, we're people. So liaising is not very tough. But for some people, I would assume who aren't very open about their feelings, or how life treats them, liaising would be difficult. And you could also be one of those people who are in the institute and who's the only person who wants to publish. And being the only resident in a department that doesn't really think publication is important is also a tough place to be in. So what I would think is important to remember is that, there are people out there just like you. So find like-minded people who may not necessarily be in the same institute. You form a group, you form a group of people who are from different institutes, and you start publishing together. Start with replying to letters. Start with building studies that are maybe surveys that don't require you to geographically be together. And you can work on building your CV together as a cohort. So everyone becomes stronger, even though, you are isolated in other places. Because I realize it's very easy for me to say this, that, you come to us and we will form a mentor-mentee relationship when there is a 32-member strong faculty group that is there for our 100 residents. So it's easy.
Yeah.
But if your pool is smaller, you also need to click with your mentor. You need to feel comfortable with them and they need to feel comfortable with you. So if that is what is bothering you, if that's what is holding you back, you find peers who are willing to liaise with you. Find seniors who are willing to liaise with you through conferences. Like, a lot of us are happy to share our experience. Like, I still have residents who work with me in KEM, who collaborate with me on a regular basis with regards to what bothers them about how to write things. We write together on occasion. Sometimes it's just, I'm stuck here, can you help me? And you'll find, if you ask, there are a lot of people available who will simply fill that role for you, even if they're geographically remote.
So only crying babies get milk. That is the thing. If you have that wantness, then you will find like-minded people. And so, yeah, I mean, this is something that we wanted to do because of the question mark that a lot of you students are having regarding, sir, हम तो बहुत छोटे DNB institute से हैं, या I'm doing diploma DNB, I don't think I'll be able to crack this thing. I'll never be able to work in a corporate or a big medical college or even a medical college as a faculty. Nobody is ever going to lend me a job. So this is just for all those students. With these two wonderful anesthetists in front of me, I have seen them personally from the very beginning till the time they have reached here. And I can tell you and I can assure you it is all step by step. Nothing is jumpy, nothing is very fast, nothing happens overnight. It is very simple step-by-step journey, month by month, year by year. You just kind of get an opportunity and you try to make the best of it. So one part is that this is what you can do, which will obviously increase your chances multiple times to land a job, dream job, which, most of the people envy. But at the same time, I will just put a caveat from my side because I don't want anybody to feel that if they don't do this anything, that then they are never able to going to do anything in their life. It doesn't work that way as well. Obviously, there is always a difference between the top 1% and rest of the 99%. So you might not be able to reach that top 1% who publish everything, who are a writer of the chapters and textbooks and who conduct seminars and workshops. But doesn't mean that you never get a job. With patience, perseverance and your work, and of course, like they said, with knowledge, you will eventually reach there. Maybe you will reach 5 years later. But if you really are that motivated and you want to give your best and not feel guilty that I held myself back, then this is the way that these two wonderful anesthetists have told us. So if there is anything else that you guys want to add to this, then my students would be happy to get that piece of your brain.
I think another important factor is once you start publishing, I think you need to keep the ball rolling and not stop, because then to restart it again is a little difficult. Like for me personally, I've stopped. And now even the thought of starting to publish and do it all over again is like a daunting task for me. But I am so impressed with Gauri, because she hasn't stopped. She continues to do it, and that's so motivating. Sometimes I look at her and I ask myself, what am I doing? Like, I haven't published anything, recently. So I think once it's like working out in a gym. Once you stop working out, then getting back to the gym is difficult. And I think once you get into that zone of publishing, you'll naturally want to present posters. You'd want to do other academic stuff, because you feel you've conquered the world by publishing this. You feel you kind of know the language that everyone talks. So that would kind of really help, and it would get you to read more articles as well. So don't keep stopping. Like, even if you've published your first thesis or your first article, continue to keep doing the work.
Yeah.
As much as I love how Joanna's portraying me as somebody who's, getting the ball rolling and publishing all the time, that is not true. This is a demand of the job that I work with. So I wouldn't want anybody to think that this is, I wake up in the morning and think, let's write 2 papers today. It's not that. We all have our days and our hours and our months.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, we will think it that way. It appears better.
Because it appears better, yes, but that's not the truth. I struggle so many times and so often. But the fact is that I'm in a place where academics is a part of the job. So while it may look easier, obviously it increases demands, because for some unknown reason, our hospital believes that, our motto should be service, education, and research. And we cannot falter on any of those lines. As heavy as those words sound, they're heavy when you work them out as well. But the fact of the matter is that the CVs are built because the CVs are built. None of the journeys are going to be the same. You could have a different journey altogether and reach the place that you want to. And it's only through your journey that you're going to figure out what you like. And it's okay to not like academics. It's okay to not like publications. It's okay to say that I do not want to be the center of attention in a conference, and that's all right. It doesn't make you a bad anesthetist, because that is what you're looking for at the end of the day from when you're studying anesthesiology. Are you a safe anesthetist? Are you a good anesthetist? Which I'm sure all of you are. And for that, you need to study hard and, work your stuff out and go to good places so you can see good cases, work on those cases. By the by, if you happen to like academics, well, that's lucky for the academic world. But if not, that's okay too.
This last part I'm very happy listening to. It's okay, because you've not done anything.
It's okay.
Ultimately,
coming from somebody who teaches, he teaches more frequently than I do when I'm supposed to be a teacher. That's rich coming from him.
But yeah, no publication doesn't mean end of the world. That is a very good point. And yes, not liking academics is also a very valid point. It's not always necessary for everyone to keep doing the same thing. But yes, if you do it, it's better. Otherwise, it's not. So with this candid conversation, I will like to thank all of you for listening to this talk. And of course, to these two ladies with me, Dr. Gauri Gangakhetkar, remember the name, and Dr. Joanna Rodrigues. And you're going to hear their name more often later on when you come into the real world. And thank you so much for finding time for my students. And
thank you for having us.
And we'll definitely let you know how was the response. And if at all there are any queries, then we'll pass on to you and you can respond back to them.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.